Now let's look at a quick comparison of absorption and variable costing. What causes the difference in net operating income? And if you said the treatment of fixed overhead, you would be right. Now you could have three different cases. You could have production equal to sales, you could have production greater than sales, or production less than sales. Let's look at each of these three in turn. If production is equal to sales volume, then income will be equal under the two approaches. There will be no difference in income. And that's because the amount of fixed overhead expensed on the income statement will be the same under both methods. Now, if production is greater than sales volume, like KMA, our previous example, where they produced 2,000 units and sold 1,200 units, income was higher under absorption costing. And the reason is that less fixed overhead was expensed than was incurred. In the KMA example, they incurred $600 of fixed overhead, but only expensed $360 under absorption costing. And that's why income was higher. Now, in the next month, if KMA sold more than they produced, that is, they produced 2,000 units and sold 2,200 units, income would be higher under variable costing. And of course, the reason is related to fixed overhead, and more fixed overhead would be expensed than was even incurred under absorption costing. Also, recall that absorption costing is required under GAAP, but for management decisions, you may want to consider variable costing. And that's because there are a couple of advantages. One is that variable costing is consistent with CVP analysis. If you look at an income statement prepared under absorption costing, where you see sales minus cost of goods sold equal gross margin minus operating expenses gives you income, you have no way to really identify the variable and the fixed costs, and that is required to perform CVP analysis. The second advantage of variable costing is that income is not affected by changes in production levels. And what you'll find is that a company can manage their income, or a manager can manage their income simply by producing inventory that they know they cannot sell under absorption costing. They'll take that fixed overhead, divide it by more units, and that fixed overhead will stay in inventory as an asset until that inventory is sold. So there is a temptation for management to overproduce just to increase income. That is, again, produce inventory that they are pretty sure they cannot sell, and that will increase the income alone.